is utterly fabulous. So you should be reading the Damon Suede, the trailblazer of romance literature.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. I really appreciate you having me.
I love him. You guys need to read this book. It is amazing. Actually read all of his books, but start with this one because it is a trailblazer apparently. Hothead
is one of those, someone described it as the marijuana of gay romance. I am the gateway drug. They did a survey of, true story, they did a survey of 13,000 gay romance readers, and for something like 46% of them, this is their first book. So I've been converting people to gay romance. I'm like the breadcrumbs into the gay witch's house. Like I'm baking them with gayness. So you read this, you get baked, and then I will bake you. And then you're inside the house reading hot firemen and hot comic book artists and hot sex demons and hot bodyguards.
I was like, and this is why, like, you just answered the question, like, why I adore you. Like, I don't even need to explain. He is so charming and so hysterical. Like, you are everything. Oh my gosh. I'm so honored to get to talk to you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh. I want to do the best job humanly possible for you. So we have either or questions. We're going to be playing either or questions. So he's going to choose a category, and I'm going to ask him to choose between two things.
Okay.
So we have everything from fairy tales to romance questions. We have all the categories.
I say fairy tales. Let's start fairy tales. That feels like a good one, don't you?
I want to do some like fun romance ones. We have rom-coms.
Good.
We have, and again, I know you like your comic books, so this was for you.
Hell yeah.
Comic book heroes or heroines. So I
no,
really
we're going to get there. We're getting there. Now.
So Cinderella or Rapunzel for fairy tales?
Cinderella, definitely. Why would you want all that hair? And is it only on her head? What if she did? Like, what if she was like, hold on, and then it unfurled? I don't know, that would be really uncomfortable.
Oh my god.
Depilation of Rapunzel. Don't do it, Rapunzel.
I mean, at one point someone said the Anne Rice Sleeping Beauty was a romance, so then
It is a romance. It's just sort of structured.
Well, like,
it's an erotic romance.
Yeah.
It's a very loose romance, but yes, absolutely.
So I had to read, again, I've been studying the romance genre, and I've read those books, and I was like, this is a very different take on Sleeping Beauty that I was not expecting.
Yes, well, no.
I love how we're like, and that is why Cinderella.
And that is why Cinderella.
Well, Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast?
Beauty and the Beast, no question. Beauty and the Beast is a retelling of Apuleius' story of Cupid and Psyche from the Golden Ass. True story, which is a magical epic about someone who is turned into an ass, into a donkey, by the goddess Isis. And so part of that book is a sort of story within a story, which is Cupid and Psyche, which later becomes the story of Beauty and the Beast.
You need to have like your own podcast, YouTube channel.
No, I'll just guess. I'll come to you. No, but anyway, if you've never read, if you love the Beauty and the Beast myth, I can name a couple. You should read When Beauty Tamed the Beast by Eloisa James.
Yes!
You should read Truth in the Dark by Amy Lane. You should read Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. Like, there are many adaptations of the Beauty and the Beast myth. I think because I love Rake Redeemed. I love a dark character who's sort of brought out of darkness. There's something really seductive about that, about someone tortured and longing.
I was like, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also showing like how good of a writer you are if you can do that. Take a bad guy and make him good.
Yeah, make him good, exactly.
I mean, that's not an easy task, and if you do it, like Eloisa James, who is phenomenal.
No, she's a ninja. She's an Olympian. It's funny, she's one of my best friends. We kind of do a writers thing like a couple times a month where we get together and just kind of talk shop because we both sort of come from academic backgrounds, and she's so funny and she's so smart, and she has these cool ideas about what romance can do, and so we're always kind of in there kneading the dough together.
Aww.
But she's a wonderful writer. She's a wonderful, wonderful writer.
I've met her a few times. She's one of those people who's beautiful inside and out, and was like, I adore you, and she's totally fine with the fangirling at her.
No, and she also, like, she's a big champion of new romance. I've actually found a lot of titles. I found Mariana Zapata through her.
I am obsessed.
Obsessed. From Luke Off with Love, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, You Must. She's amazing. Mariana Zapata. But I found her through Eloisa. I found Ice Planet Barbarians.
Ruby Dixon!
Yes.
Oh my god, high five for you.
Ice Planet
High
Barbarians.
five.
Seriously.
Oh my god.
Ice Planet Barbarians was through Eloisa. In fact, she is such
I've read all of those books.
She's such a fan of the series. She now has bookstores in Manhattan that stock it because Eloisa is like, you must read this. This is great erotic sci-fi. It's a phenomenal series. If you've not read it, I really read it. Now, I really love it. I will say to you, I happen to know what Ruby Dixon's other pen name is.
I've literally been trying to find this out. They know, so off, like, again, for live streams, because I've been recommending the series, like, they know I love Ruby Dixon. I've gone on to her, like, the actual.
I will tell you, if you...
I've been trying.
I know who it is, I will not say. I will tell you, very, very well-known, very, very gifted writer who knows how to blow tropes open, knows how to bend a story to make it her own.
I've been
She's
trying
just really
to find out who this is. Like, so my master's degree was in communication culture technology. Like, I was trying to find out like who the URL was registered to. So I was going into like the ICANN databases, and like
that person is very smart. There will be none
I was
of
gonna
that.
say, like, I've been on this for like 2 years. I've been trying, and then I found
No,
her
but I
personal
understand the
assistant.
firewall. I mean, those things are really tricky.
I just want to know, like, just because at this point, like, I would never actually tell anybody. Like, I love
I'm
you guys.
sure
but I
at
wouldn't
some
tell.
moments the author will say like, "Hey guys, guess what?" It's like Anne Rice and Anne Roquelaire, right?
Yeah.
Like there will be a moment where, but I think there's something so cool about authors that bend the genre and extend the genre, and I feel like those books are so sexy and vital, and they're like everything that's right.
She can also have, she has diversity in it as well. She's had, I mean,
Totally.
Device Distraction, she had an Indian heroine. I mean, I've read everything from her, from like all the different, I'm like, yes, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, right, like Hi, the World Exists. It would be
Yeah.
nice. Wakanda forever. I mean, like here we are. So, like, let's move into the future. It's 2019, guys. It is not 1974. So, yay.
You guys gotta read this. I've been pitching those
I like
books
that we
forever.
got to Beauty and the Beast and then we just went off
Yes,
into
no,
people.
I was like, yeah, we were only gonna do like a quick round by the orb. I'm like, yes. This is why I love you though. Like those are the books that I love. Honest to goodness, I have read every single one of those. I've read Ice Planet. I've read the Barbarians. I love her books. I'm obsessed.
Have you read C.S. Pacat? Do you know The Captive Prince?
I know that title. Yes.
Oh, she's great. That's a great story.
Yes.
If you like, it's slave. I mean, like the trope is, but it is
Yeah.
a very, very. She's a wonderful writer.
I think I bought
Australian.
this. I don't think I've read it, but I think I have it on my Kindle app.
CS is something else. I was very fortunate. I did a panel with her. We went to go do a panel up at Book Culture up at Columbia, and I went to Columbia, so I know that neighborhood and I know the bookstores.
He's
and so
brilliant.
we went to the bookstore to do this thing, and we thought there'd be like 30 diehard fans at this bookstore, and we show up, and it was C.S. Pacat, and we had. Who was the moderator? It's the woman Ellen Kushner, who wrote Swordspoint, which is a very wonderful a gay fantasy romance, sort of moderated, and it was just really thrilling. And there were so many people in the room, it was like 280 people, that they had people standing in the street.
Yeah.
This
makes me so happy.
But it's because it was a college, and the young readers are like, yo, diversity, like get on it, like let's move beyond I am blonde, I have a B cup. Like we're more than that. I celebrate blondes and B cups, but we're more than that.
I was like, I might be blonde, but I'm not a B cup. Like when Sarah McLean was doing her new book coming out, she has the plus size heroine. I was like, yes, Sarah McLean.
She's killer.
I was like,
Sarah's
go
amazing.
Sarah. Everyone's doing something different. This is why last night, Rita's, I was so excited.
I cried.
Yeah, I was
I cried like a crazy person. I was doing the voice of God, so
Yes.
I was up in the booth.
He is the voice of God.
No, I'm not literally. I'm not like
he
Yahweh.
He is
I'm
Morgan Freeman for
Krishna.
Rita's. You were the
But I'm the
Freeman
Morgan
Rita's.
Freeman of the
Yes.
Rita's, so I often wanted doing VOG. So I'm upstairs VOGing, and this is going on. My husband's sitting next to me, and I was bawling the whole time. Kennedy wins, bawl. Minx wins, bawl. I mean, like all these things are happening, but I thought the ceremony itself was so well done. Gina Fluharty was the committee chair, and she just
Great
did
job.
a bang up job. Sarah McLean was the MC. She stepped in and really shaped the script. It was just magical night. Best readers ever, hands down. And the speeches are online. If you've not seen the speeches, they're next level, transformative. I actually woke up. There were a couple speeches that were so inspiring. I woke up this morning at 4:00 in the morning and began plotting a book.
Did you really?
Yeah, literally.
That is so
because
amazing.
the speeches, I was so inspired. I do a thing when I'm on the road. I travel a lot, and
Yeah.
if I'm on a book tour, I send myself emails. And so right now there are emails that are like, Damon, you have a message from Damon. But I know that if I search for my own name in the sort of that I can find what I did. Like. Yes, so yes.
Red Riding Hood or Snow White?
Ooh, good one. All right, I will say Red Riding Hood, only because if you've never read Angela Carter's The Bloody Chamber, which is an erotic feminist retelling of fairy tales, including Red Riding Hood, she has this great thing where she talks about men that are hairy on the inside. And that description has stayed with me my entire life. She's an amazing writer, and so brilliant. And the thing with Snow White is Snow White always feels rapey, and the combo of necrophilia, rapey, and dwarves feels like a bad combo for a romance. I always think of like one hymen with 7 dents in it. Like, it just doesn't seem right. So I don't.
Have you put that one in your books? Because
No.
that needs to be a quote somewhere.
That does, okay. Like, there's something about the fetishization of little people in that, like sort of the like making people into freaks. But there's also something about the necrophilia of that fairy tale that I find.
Unconscious.
Yeah, it's upsetting. It's upsetting. There's something about that that really bugs me. Whereas Little Red Riding Hood, which is also upsetting in a different way, has in it this sort of primal. There's like a primal shape to it that feels sexier, fresher. And again, mini adaptations of Red Riding Hood. Kirby Crow did a really wonderful gay romance series, fantasy romance, called Scarlet and the White Wolf, which is very, very intense and tropey. And it's not for everybody, but
you just have like a little twinkle in your eye.
I love that series. It's demented and great, and it's very unsettling and like luscious. Kirby knows how to write a book. So anyway, there are many Red Riding Hoods, but that's one of my faves.
See, now I need to go find this. This makes me read list immediately on my Goodreads.
Scarlet and the White Wolf. But Kirby Crow.
Immediately gonna go at this. Alice in Wonderland or Peter Pan?
Alice in Wonderland, no question.
Yes!
I can quote sections of that book from memory.
Me too!
Obviously, I find Peter Pan kind of tragic and depressing. The idea of people that don't want to grow up seems weird and like pedophilia bait. I always thought Captain Hook seemed like a rapey older man in a movie theater who would like lean over and try to blow children. And I feel like Alice in Wonderland is inherently about like wonder. It's about discovery and about sort of fear and insanity. There's something unhinged about it that I find really relaxing because my life is Wonderland. So I don't know, I identify with Alice and I think Peter Pan is a prick.
This is why I love you. Like, I did a paper on Alice in Wonderland and the nonsensical language in it. I was talking about like unpacking it. I love Alice in Wonderland so much. One of my very first YouTube videos was just talking about Alice in Wonderland.
Hardcore. My college essay, the essay I got into Columbia with, was about Alice in Wonderland. I literally wrote about Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland was the first book I ever read as a child. When I was a little boy, my mother read it to me so many times I memorized it and I began associating the sounds with the words.
That's incredible.
To this day, I can do
love the
poetry.
mouse's tail with like the mouse's tail.
Oh my God. How
Imagery.
about Father William? You are old, Father William. The young man said, and your hair has become very white. I mean, I can recite entire chunks of that book. But there's a line actually.
Only other book people get this.
Get this obsession. But there's a line at the opening of it's Through the Looking Glass, and it says, still she haunts me phantom-wise, Alice moving under skies, never seen by waking eyes. There's something so haunting and uncanny about that book, and he's so smart. Dodgson, Lewis Carroll is so smart. I love that book. I think it is erotic and terrifying and brilliant and deranged and everything you want a book to be.
I was going to say, I love how it transcends the children's book narrative, so it's for like any age bracket can read this book and appreciate something.
No, and there's
about
hostility in it. The thing with Peter Pan is like, I like Peter Pan, but there's so much, this sounds very PC, but there's so much sexism baked into it, where Wendy has to be sexless mom and Tinkerbell has to be like sexless helpmeet, and all the boys are standing around like waiting to grow pubic hair and angry about it. And I don't know, I find Peter Pan creepy. There's something creepy about it. And I know it's supposed to be like pirates and engines and the sort of like old school like.
But you're also looking at the surface. You're not just taking it at face value.
No, I don't take anything at face value. No,
Yeah.
you can't. What's face value? Sex isn't face value. You stick things in things. So there has to be an inside. And so like if you're going to penetrate something, you have to know beyond the surface. Like, I mean, yes, I guess there's fraudage. You can have sex with a wall, but I don't want to. I want to be with people and in people.
Oh my
Hi, honey. Hi, my husband. Hello, Jeffrey.
My eye makeup, I'm wearing mascara, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure my eye makeup is running. You're making me
That's
laugh
nice.
so
Good,
hard.
I'm glad.
I'm gonna look like a little raccoon by the end of this. You're so entertaining.
Yay, raccoon.
I mean, now I'm scared to ask this one because I'm curious the answer. Thumbelina or Jack and the Beanstalk?
Ooh, Jack and the Beanstalk, definitely. Thumbelina, again, seems to have a very strange obsession with size, which I find creepy. Like the idea of a girl who's like the size of your thumb is really weird. And I know that giantism is a weird fetish, like people who pretend to be giants and pretend to step on you. Like, I get that. In the same way that I know that furries are a thing. But the idea of like being with someone that's the size of your digit seems really upsetting. And I guess with Jack and the Beanstalk, like, yes, there are giants, but he doesn't actually like marry them or do anything with them.
I was going to say, there's no romantic interludes there.
I have a very good friend who is doing a modern adaptation. This is in gay romance. She writes for Dreamspinner. Her name is Agatha Bird. Hi, Aggie. Shout out. She is right now in the middle of writing an adaptation of Jack and the Beanstalk for her Folked Up series, which is like. Do you remember the old in the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, the sort of fractured fairy tales? She's basically doing fractured fairy tales with boners. So it's like erotic. It's like erotic fractured fairy tales. She's very smart. Aggie's amazing. Agatha Bird.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, she needs to finish writing this immediately.
Right now. And she has a series, obviously, so because you can do different fairy tales.
I'm like, I'm going to put her in front of her keyboard and be like, work.
Work now.
I'm like, okay, your coffee, come back to it. And then the final one in this category is the Ugly Duckling, as my voice cracks, or the Emperor's New Clothes.
Ugly Duckling, no question. And I know another adaptation of the Ugly Duckling, again in gay romance, and I read more than gay romance, but all of these, I just know them in gay romance.
Well, we need to talk about them.
Kim Dare has a book called Duck! Which is a avian shifter BDSM fantasy novel called Duck. And the main character is a swan shifter who doesn't know it. And it's very moving and beautiful. Kim is, if you've never read Kim, I believe Kim is from Wales, and she does not travel a lot, but she is an incandescent writer. She writes mostly short stories and novellas, but that is novel, and it is one of my favorite sort of gay romance fantasy novels. Really beautiful, and the BDSM is handled in a really loving way, and the bird psychology is handled in a very beautiful way, which sounds crazy, but it's really sexy and really romantic.
You're giving me these books, I'm like, I need to go read.
No, Duck by Kim Dare. It's great. I love it.
I'm like, and I'm immediately gonna be buying this on my Kindle
Good,
app.
right. Hello, TBR list.
Yes, Damon Suede approved, like.
No, full on. No, actually, every one of these I've given you a gay romance, right? So.
Yeah, but I mean,
yes.
I want those recommendations. Good. I mean, I feel like we need more of them on YouTube.
And it's also hard for bandwidth, right? Like, Kim is not a big promoter of herself. Kim Dare, Duck, Kirby Crow, Scarlet and the White Wolf, Amy Lane, Truth in the Dark.
I know Cat Sebastian, I know Rowan Parrish. I know the big name people, but I'm like, tell me more. Right. I'm like, give me more. Like, these are the people I like.
It's so hard right now too. I think there's so many things competing for people's attention. Yeah. I think it's critical, and also too, like, I'm a big loud mess, so I get a lot of bandwidth, and I feel like it's important to acknowledge that there are like talented people I learn from all the time. Because truthfully, like, if I read a book and I learn from it, I want everyone to read it. I want everyone to have it. Yeah. So yes, please go out and buy these authors. They're amazing.
And while you're doing that, add his to your cart.
Okay, yes, sure, fine.
I'm gonna make sure and we're adding that one in.
The marijuana of gay romance. Try to take one hit. You can't eat just one.
He's my favorite person. I love you so much. I wrote these ones. The comic book ones are for you. And
good, so let's do it. I have a book about comic books because
That's why we have the comic.
Bad Idea is about comic book artists. My husband is a deep comic fan.
Is that how it came up?
Yes. It is because he is. I wrote for comics. I wrote for Marvel and DC.
Again, he's brilliant.
Before I knew Jeffrey, and this is years and years ago, but then when we were together, I did some writing for comics, and he was very into it. And he is a diehard fan. Like, he has tens of thousands.
So you guys pre-ordered your tickets for the Avengers and all that jazz?
Oh yeah. No, Jeffrey moderates at Comic-Con in New York and San Diego. All the artists know him. He is a known person he pays for a lot of custom art. He's a serious art collector. And so all the illustrators know him. And all of the people in Bad Idea, like Mike McCone is in there, and Sean Gordon Murphy, there are all these people who are, Phil Jimenez, they're all artists that we know in comics. So I did shout outs for them because that whole book is about fandom and how fandom alters pop culture. Like,
now I need to go back and reread that book and be like, okay, now I need to go look you up and see what
No, they're real people, like, full on.
I actually never thought they were fictionalized. Like, because I didn't know, I don't know.
Ray Arzano is in Bad Idea, and Ray did the cover for Horn Gate for me because because that book is about a comic book artist, but Horn Gate is the comic that they create for the book. And so Ray, who's in the book, did the artwork for. So
that is so so cool.
I like meta Easter eggs.
I need to now go back and reread this book immediately. Because in my head I was like, oh, these are fictional people because I don't know comic books as well as
I'm
I would
always
like.
baking in.
Okay, we need to go.
Treats, Easter eggs, Easter eggs.
Yeah, but those make me so happy, so now I need to go like look for them. I have another reason to go reread his books.
All right, go.
Another
Comic book
reason.
heroes. Speed round.
Batman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, only because of Tom Holland. Go.
Wolverine or Superman?
Wolverine.
The Punisher or Hawkeye?
Punisher.
Captain America or Thor?
Thor.
Iron Man or Iron Fist?
Iron Man.
I would be very curious if you chose
Yeah,
Iron
because
Man.
Iron Fist, I mean, really.
Deadpool or Daredevil?
Oh, Deadpool.
Hulk or Hellboy?
Ooh, Hellboy.
The Flash or Aquaman?
The Flash.
Luke Cage or Ghost Rider?
Ooh, Luke Cage.
Cyborg or Green Hornet?
Cyborg.
Black Panther or Star-Lord?
Black Panther, obviously. Duh.
Yes. I mean, we got the Wakanda reference in there before. Like, we got to do it again.
Obviously.
For
The whole
sure.
world is Black Panther, please. Like, please.
And then we have the women of comic books. We have the Black Widow or Elektra?
A Black Widow.
Catwoman or Spider-Woman?
Catwoman.
Domino or, I don't want to mispronounce it, Zatanna?
It's Zatanna. I actually love Zatanna, but I love Catwoman more.
So you're going, I said Domino or Zatanna?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Catwoman.
I did say Catwoman or Spider-Woman, and then you said
I said Catwoman. Okay, I'm sorry. See, I conflated.
He just loves Catwoman.
I do love Catwoman a lot. One of my favorite things ever is Michelle Pfeiffer. Hell here.
She
I will
was
never
amazing.
forget that. So I'm sorry. It was Zatanna
Domino or Zatanna?
Zatanna.
Wonder Woman or Jessica Jones?
Wonder Woman, no question.
He's like, I
Here's
don't
the thing. I love
Jones.
Jessica Jones, great character, but I grew up on Wonder Woman. I was raised in a lesbian
Okay,
household, so
which-
Wonder Woman is like,
Which Wonder Woman movie adaptation?
oh no, obviously Gail Gadot. Gail Gadot, this new one is amazing. They allowed her to keep her accent. She actually sounds like she's from the Mediterranean. The book is all, the movie's script is all about Xenia. Everything about that. Chris Pine is a perfect Steve Trevor. The narrative is totally perfect. No Man's Land, I can just watch
That
it.
scene makes me
I
cry.
I cry every time. Do you know they almost cut it?
I heard that.
They almost cut it.
When I first saw that, I was sobbing. I was literally just
No,
like,
Patty Jenkins is a genius. That is a
the
fantastic.
slow-mo when she's the one crossing. I'm getting emotional
amazing.
just talking about this right now. I'm getting like teary-eyed.
Even the gifts, like I cried.
Yes.
Amazing. The only movie that DC has been able to make, and I know the people who make those movies, but that is the Wonder Woman is the only one they've done right.
That's my favorite. I'm in love with that movie, and I'm not a huge comic
Because
person.
Aquaman is essentially like Jason Momoa looks hot naked,
Yeah.
and that's why I made money. But everything else is Wonder Woman, and then everyone else is like a dumpster fire.
Wonder Woman forever. If you guys have not seen it,
Seriously,
I
you're
don't know what you've been
insane
doing.
if you
need
haven't.
to
No,
watch
if you
it.
haven't seen Wonder Woman, you're on drugs, or in prison, or on drugs in prison.
Again, I'm not the biggest comic book person, but I've seen that movie at least 20
No,
times.
it's a perfect comic book movie.
At least 20
Perfect.
times. Even if you're not a comic person, it's a
No,
perfect movie.
you want to see it. You're insane. You have to see it.
It doesn't matter if you're a comic person. You need to watch this
Yes.
movie. Batwoman or Jean Grey the Phoenix?
Ooh, hard one. Batwoman is a great character written by Greg Rucka at the moment, who's one of my favorite comic book scripters. So I would give it, if you were talking about the current iteration, I would say Greg Rucka's Batwoman, but as a character, I think it's Jean Grey.
Interesting. Did you guys see the dark?
Yeah, I did. That is a trash fire. Wowza. Perfect cast, terrible script, terrible direction. Really problematic. Like on every level, problematic. The problem with that movie is magical thinking, because every time there's a problem that they need Phoenix to not be able to solve, she's like, my powers, I cannot use them. But every time that they need to solve a problem, they're like, my powers, I can create matter from nothing.
That's like my cell phone doesn't have a signal. Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
got
know.
a signal now.
No, exactly. And I think that I think Sophie Turner is I think she was perfectly cast. I think it's a great cast. I think
Sansa Stark fan?
which?
Are you a Sansa Stark
Oh
fan?
yeah, of course, obviously. But it's funny because that actually is one of the hardest characters to cast in that book. I mean, in that series, because she's so unlikable.
Oh,
and I think
Sansa?
Yeah, but she's such
yeah.
a tricky character. But I think that's a great character. The way she grows, the way she changes. But anyway, it's a lot about female empowerment in her, and I think that's where you see a lot of George R.R. Martin's inherent feminism, although he's not always a feminist. But anyway, with Dark Phoenix, I was so frustrated because I was like, I think the story is too big for 3 hours. I think you need an 8-hour arc to do that comic book arc. The story is too big. And so to do her, I think that's why Last Stand was such a disaster I think that's why Dark Phoenix was such a, I don't even want to call it a disaster. That was like a fart masquerading as a symphony.
I love that you don't hesitate to say your opinion. You're like, this is how I feel.
No, this is not just how I feel. That is the truth. That is the only opinion. That is the truth. The end. That movie was garbage. And by the way, the fans agreed. Go look at the numbers. Hi, welcome to the world.
The final the final question: Scarlet Witch or Captain Marvel? Carol Danvers.
Ooh, brutal. God, right in the balls.
I saved the final one. I wasn't thinking that when I wrote it.
That's a really hard one.
I knew that was a hard one.
God. All right, I'm going on loyalty alone because I love Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. I thought the new movie was great. I loved it. I'm going to go Scarlet Witch. I think Scarlet Witch is a more interesting character than Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel is, as a writer, I think Captain Marvel is too powerful. Like Superman, because she is so powerful, you have to keep ramping up these global conflicts to make things bad enough. That is why in the final Avengers movie they had her there and gone. Because if you leave her in the movie dies. There's no way to. So, Scarlet Witch.
That's so fascinating. Those are my comic book questions, and I don't want to hold you hostage, but I think everyone should be reading your book. We need everyone to go buy this book, as well as everyone who just recommended.
Hothead does not suck. It is a good book. I have other books, but please read some of the authors I named today.
Please.
Because these are some of the bright, shining stars in the romance firmament. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know them, you should. They are really tremendous.
And there's a reason why I idolize this guy. He's amazing. Read his books, and I'm so honored that you got to talk with me today.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm so appreciative, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for watching, guys. Truly.
Seriously,
it's
go
really
read his books now. Have a nice one, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Fist bump.
Yeah.
Yay.